And we're back. Oh, guests. My apologies. Oh, it's you. Have we met somewhere? Eh? Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave. So long. Is Edgeworth here? Yeah, there's, not many places he could hide.
There, standing by the window, a teacup in his hand.
Oh, it's you. He has the hotel bring him tea service? That cheating bitch!
Mr. Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry?
Precisely. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. Oh, yes. He brought me some information, it seems.
Really? Was it helpful?
Apparently a new French restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me somehow. I think the report is on the other side, Edgeworth.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth. I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him.
By the way, just saying, I actually read a recap towards the end of the case. I mean, I know what happens, but, just rereading it. And I remember how annoying the case gets later on. Already terrible. Actually, I don't think showing anything to him will work. So let's just talk. So, how did the inquiry committee go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation. Which it sort of is. Also, something I didn't mention in the video about Meekins. If we take into account that he either woke up at the detention center or woke up in the evidence room after the murder, if you will, or whatever the fuck he says, this means that despite there being supposedly hard evidence in terms of a video proving that he apparently killed somebody, he was walking around free as a jaybird for at least a day before he was arrested for a murder he apparently committed. Good job, police.
Concealing evidence?
Yes, apparently there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky this time. Again. Again? I've heard him say that so many times. Ever since that case 2 years ago. Yeah, that case that we never heard about before and will never hear about again, as I said. Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still a presiding prosecuting attorney. However, something happened? They gave control of the investigation over to the police department.
You're telling me that the police department full of investigators that are supposed to be in charge of an investigation are actually in charge of an investigation this time? Color me surprised. That is so unrealistic. The police department? What is it with these people repeating stuff? Do you think I have such a terrible case of Alzheimer that I can't remember what you told me 2 seconds ago?
Yes, any further investigation for this case will be directed by the Chief of Police Gant.
I'm sure there's no conflict of interest there at all.
I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see. Why, I ask you, why? All along I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of. Except for the time when you dated Larry, but we do not talk about that. But still. Wow. Never seen this out of sorts. Seriously not? Right, please. I'm the prosecutor on this case. You don't expect me to sit here and discuss the case with you over a cup of tea. I'll pass on the tea. Just tell me about the case.
Mr. Wright! Mr. Edgeworth just told you no in a very polite manner. Whose side are you on anyway?
Maybe I was just showing my best evidence I could get some reaction out of him. I know something you could show to him, but that might not be a good idea. Oh, right. I'd better check this now. As I was saying... What's that? A record of ID card usage? Edgeworth, you went into the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true.
Why, Mr. Edgeworth?
Please don't look at me like that. I was asked to go. By Chief Gant, no less. I'm sure there's no reason for that.
The Chief of Police?
He wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. There is the idea that this case, or this screwdriver, which sort of looks like the one April May had in her hotel room, if you remember from case 1-2, that might be the case that is referred to here. At the time, sort of fits, but maybe, maybe not. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. For some reason. But it was solved, right? Would have to be, as the evidence was already filed. The chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here.
Can I ask what kind of case it was?
I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. Now I'm curious about this other case. Better make a note of it. Oh, okay. I was worried for a second the music stopped suddenly, and I wasn't sure if the game was lagging, if the recording was lagging, or if the game had actually frozen. Whatever. It didn't. Stubborn as always. I told you this has nothing to do with the current case. Well, yeah, it doesn't, which is why it's so important. The tag says AI-16.
What's that got to do with anything?
Nothing, apparently. At least, that's what Edgeworth said.
That makes it seem all the more suspicious. Who knows? This might turn out to be the clue that breaks the case.
Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, hilarious later on. Okay, nothing else to check. You know, since I'm already here... Also, yes, as I said, luminol doesn't really detect sperm, but for the hell of it.
What? It looks like some blood is dripped down here!
Judging by the amount, my guess is it's from a nosebleed.
A nosebleed, huh? Maybe in his wrath, Mr. Edgeworth slapped someone for their incompetence.
Why does Detective Gumshoe's face come to mind? I don't know. I figured the nosebleed more came from, I don't know, somehow walking in on Edgeworth undressing. It's a possibility. Anything else to talk about? Okay. Oh good, Angel's star disappeared. In fact, I forget where I have to go. Maybe I wasn't done talking with him yet? Probably not done talking to him yet, okay. Let's shove some more stuff into his face. Because it's fun. Although I have to say, why the hell, you know, considering they're... Well, we're not at the part where we really have to point out SL9 is immediately in possession or direct connection with this, instead of just being filled with people who are all like, oh, it's not over yet. So technically he could talk about the SL9 direct evidence. No, I thought you had something to say about that. I mean, I think I have to get the fingerprint from him. You know, fingerprint powder stuff. Yeah, that would be my reaction too when I saw the blue badger. But my badge has nothing to do with the case. I could have sworn I have to give him something. Yeah, I dislike this case so much I easily just... I may read a recap about the case, but I quickly try to forget about it because it annoys me so much. Oopsie! See, that's the problem when you always have them talking and appearing with the same sprites and all. But yeah, he's talking about DL6, we do not need a recap of that. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the deputy chief of police at the time, Damon Gant. That wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago too. Of course! We can't have a new character appearing who isn't connected to that. He was the best we had, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous.
Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth?
What I want to know is why was the deputy chief of police on the investigation? In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't... Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I will do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something.
My sister? What?
You still working on that scientific investigation?
Huh? Yes, of course. Why, just today Mr. Wright and I were using this. Don't show her that.
For all you know, Edgeworth and Phoenix Nugget can't detect semen. Luminal testing fluid, Well then, you might have a use for this.
Aluminium powder for taking fingerprints!
It's been chemically tested for better adhesion.
For me? Are you sure? We're the enemy, you know.
I've no say in today's investigation. Do as you will. Edgeworth.
I love...
No need to thank me. Yeah, I totally was gonna say... Yeah, I was gonna thank you, yes. Take your powder and the fingerprints files for everyone involved. Thanks. How about giving these Detective Gumshoe as well? Look, you just put it down there and you blow really hard.
Well, let's get going. One last investigation.
Right. I do seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. Whatever. This may be a short video because I think once we figure out the fingerprints, it's another segment finished and then we start the trial. Our investigation turned up a suspicious handprint.
Here, in this blood on the detective's evidence locker.
Well, let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed.
Right, let's get started. First, choose a finger.
I pick my middle finger. A finger?
Each finger leaves behind a slightly different imprint. So let's choose the finger that will have left behind the clearest print.
I really can't tell the difference at a glance.
Quit procrastinating and choose a freaking finger!
Fine, I'll pick this one. Like I said.
Okay, now it's time to check for prints. Let me show you how it's done.
Emma's starting to get that sparkle in her eyes.
First, we sprinkle the aluminium powder around.
How do you do that?
Just touch the screen. See?
Oh, it looks like that did the trick.
The aluminium powder adheres completely to the print. Once the powder is well spread, just blow away the excess.
How do I do that? What's this breathing you're talking about?
You just blow with your breath. Imagine you're blowing out the candles on a birthday cake. See?
Wow, that looks like fun. Might take some getting used to though. Yeah, this breathing thing is really difficult.
It's fine. It won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on stick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting, Mr. Wright.
I guess I better give it a try. Snort that! Excessive clicking. What joy. What do you mean the microphone isn't working? The microphone's freaking attached! This has happened to me before at times, where it thinks the microphone isn't attached, but the good thing is that usually some of the powder is blown away slowly as the time goes by. Because if this doesn't start moving very soon, I'm gonna have to work with the options. There we go. Had to fix the options.
You did it! You found one!
But this looks nothing like a fingerprint.
Now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't.
What does that mean?
I think it means we're out of luck.
Out of luck?
The person who left this handprint must have worn gloves.
I wonder who we know in this case who wears gloves. Don't tell me we've been wasting our time here.
Hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations. But it does seem a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for other prints?
Other prints?
Looking at the locker door again closely, it seems like there are other fingerprints outside the bloody handprint as well. Let's see if we can find a clear print.
Fingerprints outside the blood. What a crazy idea.
Yay! A print so clear it's dazzling!
Dazzling?
Anyway, this print took a lot of effort to find. Let's match it up right away.
So we're not done yet? This is quite a process.
Well, there's no point in finding a fingerprint. And not knowing who the owner is, right?
I guess she's right.
Look at the fingerprint data we got from Mr. Edgeworth. And point out the person you think left these prints.
Huh? How am I supposed to know who it was?
I could make a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means that the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So whose fingerprints would be most likely found in this evidence locker?
Yeah, strange enough, when you click, it does show you the fingerprint data, so where exactly did he get this from? Also, considering it kind of shows them already, it's kind of pointless to compare.
But look how amazing the Nintendo DS is! Aha! So these prints belong to Detective Gumshoe! Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You gave me the so what look.
I guess that's probably because I was thinking, so what?
Okay, so we came up with nothing this time, but there's always next time. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright.
Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room.
Let's check it out.
Nothing to check on this, okay. Oops. Do have to click here. This is where we got a lumino fluid reaction, right?
Right! There was a handprint here! Okay, wanna try using this?
There go her eyes, sparkling again. Okay, let's check for prints.
That's the spirit! Oh, but I have to warn you about something first.
What?
The area with the blood was wiped away, right?
We only ended up finding it using chemical means.
Any prints in that area will have been wiped away too.
Oh. Right. So that means no prints.
Would you say the probability of your hypothesis is high?
Don't ask me!
Anyway, we must try to find prints that weren't wiped away.
Prints other than the ones left by the bloody hand. Basically, no checking these since they don't work. So there should be something there. What was that sound? I gave it my best shot.
That kind of result won't be any good for magic prints, will it?
But it doesn't look like we'll get a clearer result from this print.
Okay, let's try a different finger then.
Okay, so... Oh, I was just there. I'm pretty sure this is the finger that I just checked, but... let's give it our best shot. Yeah... Yeah, if I'm going there and there, it's both the same finger. By the way, has this game never heard of partial fingerprint matches? I'm not making a big deal out of this. Problem with this is it just makes a very annoying trial part start. Hey, these fingerprints.
Whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know?
It's Officer Marshall.
Huh? Officer Jake Marshall? That's got to be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime.
Emma. This are decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. A numero reaction. The blood and the fingerprints are in the same place.
Oh. Oh!
So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a wiped blood stain.
But why would Officer Marshall...
It looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. I guess this is what you'd call decisive evidence. Only of something that doesn't really exist. Oh god, I wish it didn't exist.
I don't believe it.